Okay, so let's start. Hi everyone, my name is Piotr and I'm happy to be here and talk about two of my favorite subjects, so growth and analytics. I also like bikes, but I did not manage to incorporate this into the presentation, unfortunately. So I'm from Sublime. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer there. As a quick reminder, we measure growth. We try to scan the data to look for some growth opportunities for our customers, and these are mostly D2C and e-commerce companies in Europe and the US. So this is a similar slide that Eva showed, but there will be some numbers as well, so maybe this will be helpful. So this is like a model growth rate for an e-commerce company. It has some stages, obviously, that we can distinguish. Actually, the real curve looks like this. So this is the drama and chaos that we unfortunately see, but let's hide it for the moment. And with our benchmarks, we find that these are more or less the company sizes in terms of revenues and ad spends that would fall into each stage. And this is actually for the US market, but for the Polish one, it's safe to replace the dollar for the zloty, and we should be okay. And when we talk about these growth barriers and the stagnation, in our case, in case of our customers, this happens many times in this stage and in this time. When it comes to the reasons, to the barriers, there can be many different ones. So we can have supply chain problems, we can have technology issues with the e-commerce engine, we can have capital constraints from the investors, our customer acquisition costs can be rising, we can have problems with talents and management, and so on and so on. It's a lot, and it's too much to first of all, to cover everything today, and second of all, not every issue will be an issue for a specific company. But to limit ourselves today, let's focus on this one. So this is like the most the first one you see probably when you face a growth barrier, and we'll deal with this from now on. And let's assume that the other barriers are not an issue right now. So when we're talking about rising customer acquisition cost, which means we are in one of two situations. The first one is that we're trying to increase our ad spend. We have the budgets, but this doesn't result in extra revenue, so the revenue stays flat. Or even worse, we could be trying to increase ad spend or even keep it at the same level, but we see that the revenue is going down. And again, then this could be for different reasons. From the top of my mind, our competition can be raising its bids and driving the costs of acquisition, or we may have been using our target audience or creatives for a too long time and they are worn out. There can be some mistakes with algorithms, with human mistakes, and so on. So many different reasons, but what we see here is that all of those mentions are actually not the most frequent ones. So today I would like to focus on something that we see is not maybe the most serious issues necessarily in any case, but it happens a lot of times. And in those cases, actually data and analytics can do some help. So I've called this the 4 traps of marketing optimization. And this happens mainly for a good reason. So we're trying to increase our ad spends as efficiently as we can. We don't try to waste money. We try to grow as fast as possible. But as a result, we fall into one of these four traps. I try to brand them so that they're more memorable, but please don't look those terms in any literature because you won't find them. And before I jump into the first one, let's put a little context on the situation. So all these traps happen in a typical digital marketing background. So we're running Google Ads, Meta, some influencer campaigns, usually those 2 or 3. ROAS, so revenue divided by ad spend, is our main focus, our guiding metric in terms of making decisions. And we are faced with manual budget allocation. So we as humans look at ROAS and decide where our money will go. So how much we put into Google, how much into Meta, and which influencers are we going to invest in. But part of this is beyond our direct control because Meta or Google are run by algorithms. So we just set a goal for an algorithm, and the algorithm will do its job relentlessly and ruthlessly. So let's go to the first problem, chasing your own tail. And let's start with the simple situation of actually starting the company, running our first ads and first campaigns. And at this point, everything is simple because every revenue we generate is the new revenue. So we don't have an existing customer base, we have only new clients, and it's safe to say that our ROAS, which is revenue versus ad spend, is equal to our acquisition success. But then, if we move forward, the situation changes. So over time, we have built our customer base. We have some loyal customers, and they are coming back to make second, third, and other purchases. So when we look at our revenue, our monthly revenue, some percentage of this will be attributed to returning customers and some to new customers. And when we look at our benchmarks in the second year of company's existence, those numbers can be up as high as 20 to 40%, meaning 20 to 40% of our monthly revenue will be coming from our returning customers. And in such a case, we can no longer say that ROAS equals acquisition. So at least in some proportion, ROAS will also mean retention, or basically targeting our existing customers. And yeah, when that happens, now our ads start to encounter our existing customers. Whether it's Google or Meta, at least some of them will be targeting those customers that we already acquired. And if we add that the fact that actually it's much cheaper and much easier to convert an existing customers than a new customer, so existing customers will be much cheaper to convert, then the ROAS from existing customers will be higher. Not because existing customers purchase more, but because they are easier to convert. And when that happens, the focus that before was 100% on new customers now shifts a little, or not a little, to our existing customers. And when we think about these bidding algorithms from Meta and Google, if they see that they have an opportunity to acquire ROAS that is much higher than before, then they will explore this option. So they will be targeting our own customers very successfully. So over time, our general reach, the number of customers, target audience will diminish. Our creatives will be simplified because our customers don't really need explanation of who we are, what our brand is about, and what are our products. And the fuel that we've been generating so far by reaching new customers quickly gets burned, and our CACs start rising. So how can we deal with this? It's actually pretty simple. Once we have the awareness of the situation. So in Sublime, what we do is in our attribution dashboard, we put 3 important metrics, which are usually not available in Google or Meta. And the first one is the repeat order rate, which actually tells you what is the percentage of returning customers from that channel. So if that percentage is high, it means that that channel is really good at targeting our existing customers and not really acquiring new ones, which is supposed to do. So in this case, we see, for instance, that influencers have this percentage really high. So this is the first step. From this, we can also calculate the number of acquired customers versus the already acquired in the past, the cost of acquisition. And if we know that, we can now separate our acquisition efforts from retention efforts more efficiently, and we can actually start promoting channels that deliver new revenue, not necessarily targeting the loyal customers that we have. Okay, so the second problem, somehow related, is the measurement blind spots. So this again is an issue that is related to trusting our measurements too much and actually not understanding what is not being seen and not being captured by these measurements. And these are very known issues like tracking users cross-device, shorter and shorter cookie livelihood, ad blocking, or very limited impression tracking, meaning our tracking which users saw an ad and did not click on them. And these measurement gaps affect our funnel. And the problem is that the way it affects the funnel is not really proportionate to all these steps. So the longer the user journey is, there is a higher chance of some measurement disruption. And if we don't realize that, if we followed our measurements without considering that, then we may find ourselves in a position when we've cut all the upper funnel channels, or maybe not all of them, but a lot. And this is all to optimize and to get better results. So without these upper funnel channels, or without enough upper funnel, there is not enough audience to convert in later channels. So we've cut our potential. And when it comes to solutions, there's easy ones, which will be less precise, but you can do it from tomorrow. There are harder ones, which we at Sublime are working at. Some of them are implemented, some are ahead, and they are really hard which are possible, but even we struggle with them on a larger scale. So when it comes to easy ones, the first one is really easy, just at least technically, maybe not mentally. So just free some portion of your budget from ROAS constraints. So be aware that not everything will be measured well, and have that freedom to spend it less efficiently. Some other ways we've seen is that if you know your upper funnel activities are undercalculated, then use some factor to multiply it, and that way you will give them more leeway to perform. And you can always check on your top line metrics if you are spending your entire budget efficiently. When it comes to harder methods, which will be a bit more, or much more precise, then we've been using methods like using data from ad platforms by API to enhance our attribution modeling. We've been using also impression level data from ad platforms to include in click-based data. We are thinking about incorporating user survey results into attribution, so asking users how did they find us. And these are some examples of those methods. And there's really hard methods like marketing mix modeling or incrementality testing that are hard to do at scale, but from time to time can be helpful. And when it comes to some real life results, we have a case study which was done with Natucare, a supplementation brand, which shows how different are the results of channels depending of whether they are opening channels, upper funnel channels, or more lower funnel, before applying any methods to remove those blind spots, and after. So in this case study, we were able to limit the blind spots so that the meta channel was twice better than before. And if you're interested more, there's this case study published on our website. The third problem, greedy metrics. Let me show you on an example. So let's say we have an e-commerce website that is selling in a traditional way, where you just build a cart and purchase, or you can also subscribe at the same time for a monthly subscription. And when you look at the data, the average order value, so the average conversion values, it's say 300 zloty. And when you check the retention numbers, you conclude that on average one customer makes 1.5 orders per year. On the subscription part of the business, you see that the conversion value is much lower. So the subscription is only 100 zloty. But you know from retention number that average subscriber will retain the subscription for 7.5 months, or will make 7.5 orders per year. So quick calculation shows that lifetime value for subscription is much higher within these 12 months. But this is not actually reflected in ROAS, which is a greedy metric, because ROAS will only care about how much money is happening at the conversion time. So it's ignoring the fact that this subscriber will deliver much more revenue in the future, so it prefers to have the money now. And this is a very clear example for subscription versus non-subscription, but the same can be performed with different segmentation. So we can have products that are delivering more value within lifetime value. We can have campaigns that deliver more value, and we should look for metrics that reflect that value. So when it comes to solutions, in Sublime, we give our customers option to segment the customer base in many different ways in order to find the higher value customers, higher value segments, so that these segments can be used in attribution. And then what we are working on is to send this LTV data to algorithms, to bidding algorithms, so that those algorithms are able to are familiar with the real value of the conversion. Also, there's 2 case studies that we've published on the topic, in case you're interested. Okay, the last problem I will just mention briefly, because this is something that we also encounter with customers, and it's this strategy, let's call it that way, that at this stage of the business, at the growth phase, we should only care about growth, and retention will deal with that later. And this is okay if acquisition is going well, but if it's not, then this can be a problem, because acquisition and retention are correlated on many levels. So when we're working on retention, it means we're dealing with barriers that are preventing our customers from buying, and this will also work for new customers who are coming to our website. That's one way to look at it. On the from the numbers perspective, if you worked on the retention, if you improved LTV of your clients, then it means that you are able to pay a higher CAC for the customers. And if you are able to pay for higher CAC, then you are able to raise the bids in your ads, then you are able to win more auctions, and it will be just easier to reach the right customers and acquire them. So, to sum up, there's these 4 traps of marketing optimization. The first one was about understanding if your acquisition campaigns are really targeting your new customers, or maybe you are spending your money on retention or loyalizing customers. So be aware of that, calculate those repeat order rates. The second one was about the measurement problem, especially for the upper funnel, and there's ways to deal with that. The third one was about these greedy metrics that overlook the true long-term value of conversion. So try and move beyond ROAS, try to calculate lifetime value. And if this all doesn't help, if you still struggle with higher CAC, then maybe take a look at retention and try to improve the lifetime value side first. Yep, that's all. Thank you.